Okay, hello, this video, what an American thinks about Guatemala. I think Guatemala is my favorite country in Central America. I was in Guatemala like 4 months or something like that. I was there 3 months and then I left and went to Honduras because I had to every 3 months, then went back for like another month. Guatemala is my favorite place in in Central America because it's the most native, most Indian. They maintain their culture the most. They still have their traditional dress and I knew that before I even went down there. Oh no! All right, now I'm on my own. I went down there, but before I went down there, I knew that it was like Guatemalan clothing, we called it, because they had like a shop in Boulder. And it's really pretty. It's really loose-fitting, colorful pants and shirt. And like matching shirt and pants. I had a little suit, and I bought one when I was there too. But yeah, a lot of native cultures have that. They have their own little pattern, which signifies the little valley they're from. All over the world it's like that, and but they have maintained that tradition. And yeah, you could see them dressed in their little bags and their clothing, and it was pretty. And it's really hilly. I stayed in Lake Atitlan for 3 months, and that's a beautiful place. Big lake surrounded by really steep hills and villages around the edge of it. I was in San Pedro, and I climbed a mountain one day, and I looked over, and there was plains. It was flat and below the lake for the rest of the way, but all of the part that I saw was really, really hilly. And there's lots of native, like native communities there, but they were all living up above the lake, which I thought was interesting. All of the, like the lakeside, I guess the prime territory was, like in San Marcos and San Pedro was inhabited by tourist expats. And then the Indians had their own little village up higher. I guess because they were poorer. I went over to San Marcos and I was walking around the Indian village above them, and that was really basic. And they seemed really excited to see me, like they weren't used to seeing people walking through. Gringos walking through. But I don't recall any of them speaking English. I just speak Spanish with all of them. And yeah, it's really, really, really cheap. Guatemala City wasn't very pretty. I didn't spend a whole lot of time there, but it looked really big, and I think it's pretty dangerous too, that place. When people climb mountains, they usually get mugged, or they get mugged a lot of the times by guys with guns. And when people climb the mountain outside of Grenada, they have to bring escorts with machine guns with them. They did have a war there, like in the 80s. And I think there's some like political problems over there. And maybe they're not so happy with tourists having more money than they do. But they seemed friendly enough. I didn't have any bad experiences with any natives. There sure are a lot of expats there, though. It's weird. It's a strange thing to witness. All the expats along the lake and all the Indians higher up, and it's not really, you know, the expat bars where all you see are expats, and then if you go up to the native bar, it's actually, I didn't see any of those. There were lots of churches there though in San Pedro. I think I counted like 13 churches, little bitty churches, so they're really religious over there. And each town along the lake was different. Had a totally different feel. Like Santiago is where all of the kind of more native culture was, the witches. San Marcos was where all these like New Ager expats were, and then the native village was really small over there actually. But they had prices for tourists, different prices for tourists for stuff that I think they were just starting to implement because it was getting more popular with the tourists. And I don't know what I think about that. But we climbed a mountain. It was the tallest mountain in Central America. And we were riding the bus back, and that bus was going way too fast. Some crazy driving. We were actually skidding around the corners. I could hear the tire skidding around the corners on the edge of a cliff, and it scared the hell out of me. I was terrified. And while I was there in San Pedro, 2 buses did collide into each other, driving around that lake, and like 50 people died. I think everybody in both of the buses died. And then they had a big funeral procession that day. One day while I was there, I was on acid, and right when I started tripping, I could hear the people wailing, "Oh no!" in the funeral procession, and I saw the bodies go by. So yeah, they could they should slow their buses down. But Granada was a pretty place, really touristy, a lot of tourists, a lot of like Israelis. It's really old town. Anyways, I was there such a long time ago. That's all I remember. But the expat scene in Lake Adelan is interesting because it's different expats for each town. Like the druggies in San Pedro and the New Agers in San Marcos, and then like the short timers over there in Gringolandia or whatever, Gringoteca. Okay, so that's what I think about Guatemala.